This is a lesson on the division of fractions. When you think of dividing one fraction by another, you need to ask yourself the question, how many fractions can cover another fraction? Now that sounds a little confusing, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So if the question was 1/2 is divided by a quarter, what we're really saying is if you have 1/2, how many quarter pieces are in that half? So if I sectioned this half strip into quarters, how many quarter pieces are in that half? Well, there's a simple rule for division of fractions, which we will show you. And the rule is to divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. Here's a new vocab word for you, reciprocal. A reciprocal is exchanging the numerator and denominator of a fraction forms its reciprocal. So if I have the number 1/2, the reciprocal is formed by flipping the numerator and denominator. So the reciprocal would be 2 ones. If I had the number 2, the reciprocal likewise would be 1/2. If I had the fraction 3/4, the reciprocal is 4/3. So it's just a matter of flipping the numerator and the denominator. So if you look at this idea of changing a division problem into a multiplication problem, take a look at this example. Here I have 4 divided by 2 equals, well, this is a 3rd grade problem, we all know, which the quotient would be a 2. But this division problem here is the same, dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying 4 by the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. So knowing now what we know about multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators, which would be a 4, multiply the denominators, which would be a 2. Our answer is an improper fraction, which we can simplify to 2. So here you see dividing can really be turned into, a division problem can be turned into a multiplication problem as long as you take your divisor and flip it into its reciprocal. So to show you how that looks pictorially, how many, if I have 1/2 divided by a quarter equals 2, the problem we just did, the question we ask ourselves is, if I'm taking a half and I'm taking that half and dividing it into quarter pieces, how many quarter pieces are in 1/2? So here's our rule. You should write this down. To divide by a fraction, multiply by its reciprocal. So here I've changed it from a division problem to a multiplication problem. Instead of 1/2 divided by a quarter, it's now 1/2 times 4/1, which is the reciprocal of 1/4. Knowing what we know about multiplying fractions, you multiply across numerators to get a 4, across denominators to get a 2. You simplify. Our answer is 2. And here you can see it pictorially. There are 2 quarters that will cover 1/2. Or if you divided, how many 1/4s are in 1/2? The answer shows you here. It is 2. So our next problem is, how many eighths are in 1/2? 1/2 divided by 1/8 equals. So we turn that into a multiplication problem and multiply by the reciprocal. 1/2 times, so we've taken our division sign and changed it to a multiplication problem. We've taken 1/8 and looked at its reciprocal. So 1/2 times 8/1 equals. Multiply across, and you get 8 on your numerator, you get a 2 on your denominator. That can be simplified. So in fact, there are 4. It takes 4 1/8 to cover a half. If we look here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4/8 in 1/2. Another problem. 3/4 divided by 1/8 equals how much? I'm going to give you a minute. You're going to take 3/4, turn it into a multiplication problem by multiplying by the reciprocal of 1/8. How many eighths does it take to cover 3/4? If I take the pieces, I can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get 6 when I do it with the strips. Let's take a look at the answer. Multiplying numerators, 3 times 8 is 24. Denominators, 4 times 1 is 4. Simplifying the improper fraction of 24/4, and our answer is there are 6/8 in 3/4. The last problem we'll do is how many 3/16 are in 3/4? You take the problem, the division problem, change it into a multiplication problem by taking 3/16, flipping it, creating the reciprocal. How many 3/16 does it take to cover a fourth? Or to cover 3/4? So it takes me 1, 2, 3. The answer is 4. Take a look, and in fact, there are 4 3/16 in 3/4. So that covers our lesson in division of fractions.